TJ Leach here with a video on why you should go viral on social media, specifically in snowmobiling. I learned through a program called the Action Sports Club based out of Canada on how to build a personal brand or make social media a digital asset for yourself to support the action sport that you love. For me, it's cross-country snowmobiling. I saw how amazing that action sports athletes were able to convert social media into an asset for themselves and create really cool, entertaining, and educational content online for everyone to see. And they were able to build really strong relationships with people in the industry. I myself started 3 years ago applying what I learned through the Action Sports Club to grow my social media, and since then generated over 70 million views across YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. I specialize right now in short form content, so that's 15 seconds or less of videos and photos. I'm currently trying to build a skill set in long form content, which is primarily on YouTube, and I see my future of content focused purely on YouTube. The Action Sports Club taught me that you should focus on short form content at first to build a few things that I'm going to talk about here, and one of them being consistency. But that dives into what I have written up here, so I'm just going to get into it. So why go viral on social media for snowmobiling? Well, first, and honestly the biggest, is you grow the industry. And you grow the industry by putting more eyes on the sport. Back in the day, we can say, early 2000s, specifically in snowcross, it was broadcasted on television. That's how people saw it, watched it, either on cable or satellite. Now you can watch snowcross or snowmobiling in general literally anywhere, and even for free in some places. So Flow Racing has subscriptions. YouTube, you can see vlogs or kind of action edits of snowmobile racing of any kind. And then there's also short form content as well, and photos. Since there's more eyes on the sport, there's going to be more money involved. Looking at some of the biggest sports, such as the NBA, not necessarily a motorsports action sport, but it generates billions of dollars in that basketball ecosystem. And there's a lot of brands and companies that want to jump on board to monetize that marketing exposure. And then under grow the industry, I have assumed people know nothing. And what I mean by that is why you should go viral is you want to assume people don't actually know what snowmobiling is at a baseline, like what a snowmobile is, what it looks like, when and what it's used on and where location wise. I've talked to quite a few people and they're like, I've seen kind of what snowmobiling is, but I'm not familiar with it. And so you help grow the industry with more eyes by making sure you accommodate it for people that might not know exactly what snowmobiling is. So that's something, that's kind of a little bonus tip. What to focus your content on, but also why you'll help grow the industry by going viral. Second is exposure equals sponsors. We love our sport enough to fund it with our own hard-earned money, but learning through the Action Sports Club, I have learned ways to monetize or land soft sponsorships or really good discount sponsorships, the value that I created by going viral or generating views. This allows you to fund your sport. So imagine one day your sport funding itself. So having you going out riding, either by yourself or with your buddies, getting it on camera, sharing it online, and that supports you going and riding. Like, it's a dream come true, and it's absolutely possible because I'm doing it right now. I never thought I would do it, but again, the Action Sports Club made it absolutely possible. One thing that came out of this that I was told would happen, least expected it, but think it's the absolute important, is you strengthen the relationship, which I don't have written here, with the brands that you love. So I went after, with my newfound skill set in creating exposure and creating views, was to go after the brands that I was already working with, because I already knew the people kind of behind the brand. And I came to them with some proposals on, content ideas in exchange for support in the sport. And what it did was showed them how serious I was in snowmobiling, that I would take the time to go and generate ideas, actually create it, edit it, and then share it, and then follow up on it, creating proposals, and then actually sharing the results. So this kind of chain of a marketing process or content creation that we learned through the Action Sports Club, but also kind of just developed through almost a business sense of trial and error. And then over time, that relationship gets stronger, and where it gets easier for me to come up with ideas and generate content, and it's easier for the brand to trust that I can provide a return, right? It's a win-win situation. You build a digital asset, right? You already ride snowmobiles, or you ride your action sport, so document it. We have iPhones. I purely used an iPhone for the first year and a half of this journey of social media. The cameras are really good. If you have one with a ton of storage space, you can just document everything. I found a lot of success in GoPros because you can just have it running with like a really big memory card and some extra batteries. If you're a trail rider, just have your GoPro running the whole day. And then at the end of the day, or the end of your riding week, take the week to go through it and pull some memorable moments or some cool things that might have happened. And then you can clip that into short form content. You can add music to it if you like. I've learned a bunch of editing techniques and idea generation from just GoPro content. If that sounds interesting to you, let me know in the comments if you want me to do a specific video just on capturing and building content around GoPros. It's been the most successful for me. Actually, someone told me they dropped my social media into like this website that breaks down, the type of social media and like results and stuff like that. And I think it was 60 or 70% of my content was purely GoPro based. And so that's what, based on, let's say 10 million views, 6 million or 7 million is generated from GoPro. So a really cool way to go viral, but then use creativity to support your sponsorships with, different video ideas. And then you build a digital asset by documenting it. And what do I mean by digital asset is you have, your savings accounts, you might have investments that grow over time, you might have a retirement account. Social media is the exact same. Over time, you grow by gaining followers, and then the platform, Facebook or Meta and YouTube, see that you are very serious by being very consistent in posting and sharing your story or your perspective. And that consistency, just like contributing to a retirement account or investments or your savings, builds. And that actually has a dollar amount to it. Like, it is a value. There are YouTubers who actually sell their channels for a return. Like, just like however you would calculate selling a business based on cash flow or net income or revenue. I'll keep that very basic. I'll let my banking background stay to the side there, stay on the sidelines and not dive too deep because I can. But create a digital asset, and don't think it's too late for yourself. I thought it was too late back when I was 28 starting the social media stuff, and I'm 32 now, and it's grown tremendously, more than I ever thought, and I wish I had started earlier. I honestly wish I started when I was like 18. So even if you're older than me, if you're even like, in retirement, you could start social media, okay? A pain point, okay? And I want to address this because it's very important, because I don't want you to give yourself excuses on why you shouldn't do this, okay? So why it's hard. Why is going viral hard? And that's because you're not being consistent. You need to be consistent, whether you're posting daily, every other day, or weekly. You need to be consistent. The algorithm, I keep saying algorithms, but the learning systems kind of behind social media they're attention platforms. So they're designed to hold people's attention on their phone or TV or computer screens for as long as possible. And if you are generating something that does not align with what's already doing well, it's not going to show it to anyone. So you won't know if you are going viral if you're not posting enough. Right? If you post 1 time or 10 times, there's a higher chance that one of those will get picked up and shown to more people if you post 10 times. Okay? It's uncomfortable if you're filming yourself or recording, your space. Like right now here, I'm in this random room with a whiteboard. Like, this is uncomfortable. It's totally comfortable for me now talking to a camera. I'm in this room by myself talking to myself. If you're throwing a GoPro on and you're going to record yourself riding and people see you wearing a GoPro and you feel you're being judged, or you're out vlogging in public or something and you're in a store or at a restaurant, you just feel like you have every right to feel uncomfortable, but don't let that get in the way of being consistent in posting content. What I recommend doing, and this is what I did, is start with photos. Post photos. You can quickly snap a photo that's totally common amongst everywhere you go, and just start consistently sharing a photo. I had a huge catalog, very lucky, huge catalog of cross-country race photos over 4 or 5 years of racing. And every day I would post one of those photos because I just had them saved somewhere. I had like 50 of them. And I would just put a caption of what was going on in that photo, or reinforcing my belief statement that I believe life is better with snowmobiling. You can come up with something, literally anything. Everyone's creative in their own way on what to caption a photo. Then from there, once you start getting comfortable with and consistent with posting, you can try video. And it's really uncomfortable and it's really hard out of the gate. I know that personally. I have hours of footage that I probably will never use of me trying to do this, talk to a camera, do something entertaining or educational for people, and share my knowledge. I feel like I am not someone that is smart enough or an expert enough to share something, but I know enough to be dangerous, and I do have some proof of concept with my results on social media. And then, I'm no slouch on a snowmobile. Like I really pride myself on training, practicing, testing, and tuning to be a fast rider. I know I'm not the fastest. I know I'm not the best rider, but I really pride myself on what I do and how I perform when I'm on a snowmobile. And I always strive to want to be the best. And that's what I try to share and exude in my social media to others. And I hope that one day other people have that comfort to be vulnerable and share where they're at. I talk to people who are new to snowmobiling and they're like, I would love to do that, but I'm not like you. I don't have that skill set. I'm like, perfect. Lean on that as your of how you would go viral. Like share your story and how you're new to something, and then next thing you know, you'll build an audience that will follow you along your journey. And that helps you be consistent. That helps you get through being uncomfortable when there's people along that journey to support you, and you'll find the journey is way more enjoyable, and you'll end up being successful. You'll build the asset, you'll help support the people you love in the sport, and you're gonna help get more eyes on the sport. Lastly, for this part of the video, criticism. This I hate. I hate this part because it's the hard truth. Like, you're gonna get negativity in comments and on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube. And what I have found, and I'll share my personal experience with this, from learning from some of the top creators in their field, is that when you get criticism, that means you're growing. So when someone comments on your video and says, "You suck at riding," I want you to smile and look at that as growth. Like, oh my goodness, I've broken through the algorithm. Someone who doesn't typically look at my content is seeing this. So Facebook or Instagram or YouTube is pushing my content out in front of new eyes, whether they know what the snowmobile industry is or don't. I get a lot of comments that read like they're from people that aren't in the industry very often. And it's very personally attacked towards me. But I try to look past that and think, wow, I'm reaching people that typically don't watch snowmobiling content, which is really cool. So that's one way to flip that. The other is like, I'll be honest, it doesn't feel good. Like, I read every comment, and when someone, throws a death threat or are very mean, they use terrible language, or they just come at me very, very personally in a very long paragraph, it doesn't feel good. And what I do to kind of justify continuing on with this journey is that I'm helping the people that do hit the like button or do message me and say, dude, I love your content. Can you do this type of content, or keep at it? I am doing this for those people. And if you do really struggle with getting criticism, there's a really cool feature, it's not on YouTube sadly, where you can block people. I have yet to go through my block list. I'm pretty sure I have about 10,000 accounts blocked quite easily. When someone is very consistently seeing my content, they keep consistently commenting very rude, hateful, irrelevant things that align with a lot of the things that I believe in the snowmobile industry, I block them. And the reason why is they provide zero value to myself, my audience, in the sport. I've tried giving people a chance. I'll comment back with curiosity, asking like, hey, have you tried racing? Or why are you commenting this? And they come back with not a good response or something that just feels positive, or maybe they double back and they're like, oh, hey, just kidding. I try to pull that out of them. I try to get them out of the funk that they're in and see the positive or the bright side of them. And if they do that, great. Maybe they're someone who fits the bill. But if they don't, I block them. And therefore, they never see my content again. I never see them come across, and then I can drop it out of my mind. So some expectations on why posting on social media is hard. It makes it uncomfortable and inconsistent when people start hating on your stuff. But those are some strategies on how to get around that. If you do watch this video and you do start posting and you do start getting hate, shoot me a message. I'd love to chat with you and help you work through some strategies of things that are happening, because I don't want you to go through it alone. I luckily have my family I lean on, and I'm very honest with a lot of people, a lot of my friends in the snowmobile industry, and I share that with them. And sharing and talking about it absolutely helps as well. But I've made my mistakes where I've commented back or messaged people back inappropriate things, swearing. I say inappropriate things, cursing them out or getting really angry with them, and I 100% regret it as soon as I do it. A lot of times I delete comments or messages, and I've actually had my messaging banned for 7 days because someone sent me a death threat and included my family in it. And I sent them a very well-worded with some well-placed swear words of, they shouldn't say that to me. And Facebook saw that and they cut my messaging for 7 days. So I'll never do that again. And I just resort right to the blocking. This part is really challenging to share because there's really no direct how-to for each of you as viewer, to replicate this yourself. So what I'm going to do is basically, as quick and concise as I can, share what's been successful for me in two directions. As someone who's trying to be very self-reliant with generating content. The two lanes are GoPro footage and iPhone. And when I say GoPro, I'm saying helmet cam footage or using action cameras. GoPro, I'm using DJI cameras as we speak actually to record this. I did have some support from GoPro at one point, but I have found that I want to try every camera that I can, see what quality I like, and it's cold out there snowmobiling, so battery life, quality and lighting, all that good jazz. Three things in regard to using GoPro footage. You'd use helmet recording. That's always been the best for me. Using chin mounts, under the visor, or on top of the head. You want to, I'll get into it down here, but film in vertical for reels on Instagram and horizontal for screenshots for photos, or long form content. So if you're going to post a 15-minute video of you riding around your local trails, you'll want to record vertical for that. Having as much screen taken up in vertical as possible for short form is key, and having an action camera that allows you to get good depth of field, good POV, getting the hands and the handlebars, getting what's in front of you captured, getting as much of that as possible is really beneficial. It's super easy. You strap a helmet on, you hit record, you go ride. It can be expensive. Cameras aren't cheap. I highly recommend getting a newer camera. These are the newest cameras I've had in ridiculous quality. I have a GoPro GoPro Hero 10 Black, and it does well, but it's definitely limited on things where I can't pull a lot of good vertical footage from it. And then when I do horizontal, it's really the quality isn't as sharp as I want it to be, because it has like a smaller, I don't even know what, there's something smaller in comparison how it captures light. It's definitely worth investing in a newer camera right now. If you have an older one, something older than a 10, get a 10 or newer for a GoPros, and then anything from DJI or Insta360, just get something new, because they're becoming more social media oriented. You can film in one orientation, and you can pull vertical and horizontal out of it. That's something I struggle with my 10 and my 11 GoPros. So I still use them. I have a GoPro Max, which is a 360 camera. It allows me to capture really cool perspectives and does really a good job in vertical and horizontal, but the quality isn't as good as if you're capturing with a non-360 camera. The 360 cameras are getting better, which is really good, but they're just expensive. iPhone, you would need a tripod if you want to film yourself. Have your buddy record you if you're going out on a trip. Tripod you could bring out with you and set it up on the side of the trail and ride by it. You definitely can do some cool edits with that. There's a lot of moto vloggers that do that, where they're out riding out on the road, and they'll use drones and tripods and action cameras to kind of capture their lifestyle with their motorcycles. That makes it hard. It's not as easy as a GoPro. You can't just slap it on. You actually have to, have the camera held or set up somewhere. Don't use like mounted cameras as an action camera. The stability is terrible. It's not worth it. You just want an action camera at that point. However, it is the lowest cost because most people have a really good iPhone that has a really good camera on it. The type of content you would post with each of these: short form content, minimum 10 seconds. If you are to monetize at some point, the rules right now, anything under 10 seconds, you're not going to earn anything on. I've learned that the hard way. Missed out on a lot of revenue generation because I posted a 9-second video that got 1.2 million views and I got $0 for it. That one still hurts me. This is where you can do horizontal or vertical. Vertical is best for reels because it takes up the most amount of screen. You can do a lot of POV, day in the life perspective. There's a lot of cool mounts. I know there's some like dirt bike engine builders that will just have a GoPro on them and like work on an engine and like add some cool commentary. And they do very well on social media. You get to just share your perspective. A lot of comments I got, especially when I went to Heydays and I would chat with people and they're like, "Oh, I know who you are," which was wild to have that feeling and that conversation with people, like random people know who I am. They really liked the perspective I shared with my racing. It was cool for them in the middle of summer to be able to hop on my snowmobile and go for a 15-second ride with me. I get a lot of comments like that too, of like, "Hey, thanks for the ride." It's really cool. The downside, no face. You're not showing your face unless you have the camera on a tripod facing you, or you can show your face in some way. This is really hard to do when you're trying to build relationships with companies. They don't know what you look like. There's a few GoPro snowmobilers out there on social media, and they only do GoPro footage. They never show their face, and I'm very curious, like, what do they look like? And if you're trying to reach out to a sponsor and they don't know what you look like, you don't have a face to the name, it really limits that relationship. iPhones, throw the phone vertical. I primarily would record in vertical because I was earning the most on that with my monetizations in social media. I'm now starting to go more horizontal because I want to make more YouTube content. But I actually bought these two DJI cameras that will be solely for horizontal recording. You can film a bunch of 2-second clips and then put them all together so that they equal 10 to 15 seconds. You got a video, different angles, riding, you talking. There's a lot of strategies around this, and you can find some good content on YouTube on how to structure videos like that. You can create edits, you can put together series, and you can share what you know about your sport with an iPhone and a tripod, or you can even just hold your phone and talk. I know of a lot of content creators that do that. They just hold their iPhone up and talk into it, and then they'll go do something, and then they go to their camera, they talk into it, and it works. They do very well on social media. Best part about this is you show your face. It's uncomfortable, and it's weird hearing yourself talk, seeing yourself talk when you go back and you edit content and whatnot, but it is very worth it. What I don't have written up here, what I recommend for the lowest cost in editing platforms is CapCut. I have no affiliate with them or anything, but download CapCut on your iPhone. You can drop footage into it, you can cut it up, you can add slow-mo effects. You go on YouTube and look up like, how do I use CapCut, and you'll find very good tutorials on how to edit videos. If you find that, this is the last thing I'll leave you with, if you're scrolling through Instagram and you find an action sports video you really like, try and replicate it in your sport. Okay, break it down. Look at, you know, the timing of it, the angles of the shots. Look at social media as not a consumer. You're not a consumer anymore, you're a creator. And how was that video created? That's one way to start being consistent with your own content. I'm gonna end this video. I feel like I could talk for hours about this stuff. If you have any comments or questions on things I said that I maybe didn't follow up on, or you have anything that might have popped in your mind for questions, leave it in the comments. I'd love to have good discussion on this. I could go on forever on this stuff. This is just scratching the surface on what I've been doing over the last 3 years. Feel free to give me a like and subscribe. If you know these videos do well, I'm going to do more of them. And if you see something specific to you that you want me to dive into more of, leave it in the comments. You're giving me more direction and to focus on when creating this type of content. And I believe life is better with snowmobiling. So the more people that can grow the sport, the happier I am. Thanks for watching. If you want to see more videos like this, check it out in the playlist here. And if you want to see my more recent video, check it out right here. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.